Okay, it's now open to everyone. People are joining. Hi, everyone. Giving everyone a couple of minutes to join. Thanks for coming. Hey, guys. Everyone joining, you'll see that we have a chat window open. Hi. Oh my goodness, we've got so many people joining so quickly. Everyone say hi to Neil.
Hello.
Got Estella, Claire. Hi guys. People doing hand waves, we can see it all, that's good.
This is great. This is my first webinar, everyone, so I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. Bear with me. Hello to everyone.
Neil and I have had about a minute and a half of preparation here to make sure the webinar down pat. So, rightio. We still have a few people joining really quickly, so we'll give it one more minute, guys.
Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Awesome.
Wow. California. Where is everyone from?
Miami.
Miami, nice.
Stay safe for you guys in Florida. Stay safe.
Oh my goodness. So,
Isle of Wight.
Isle of Wight.
Ooh.
Scotland. Michigan.
Sunny London. India.
Sunny London. It is very sunny.
Lisbon.
One day we can say that.
Massachusetts.
Oh my goodness, we've got people from all over.
I wish you'd told me this. I probably would have.
What made your presentation more international? My goodness. Okay, we've got 53 on so far. Guys, we will get started in about 1 minute. Give everyone a few more seconds to join. Thank you so much for coming. Can we do a show of hands? How many people here are from LinkedIn versus the Facebook group? If you're from the Facebook group, type that into the chat for me so we know who we're kind of talking to. LinkedIn, Facebook, both? Both, okay. Both. Right. We've got a good mix. If you're only from LinkedIn and you haven't joined the Facebook group, just to let you know, because we're about to hit 10,000 on LinkedIn, and we've only just opened, woohoo! Only just opened up the Facebook group. It's almost a month old. It'll be a month old in a couple of days. And we've cracked 400 members in there. And it's a really active community. It's for assistance only. So it is somewhere that we post videos, support, advice, how-tos, all kinds of things. And we drink pink gin a lot. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. Meet Neil. This is Neil Davies.
Hi guys. Can I just check? I've seen a couple of chats, people saying they can't hear us.
Oh.
I saw one. It might only be one. I just want to make sure everyone can.
Can everyone hear us? Let us know if you can't hear us. How's that?
Yeah, let us know if you can't.
I don't know what I can do, because if everyone else can, I think that, okay, I think sounds good. Excellent. So thanks so much for joining us, Neil. Neil, I think the title of the webinar gives it all away. We're doing Project Management Essentials with Neil Davies, and this is Neil. So I'm going to be quiet now and hand over to Neil.
Great, thanks Alicia. So hello everyone, thanks for joining today. I wasn't expecting so many people, so this is just fantastic. So I've been asked to come and talk to you about project management, and I'm really excited about that because it's my first webinar.
Oops. Did I just mute him?
Don't mute me, please. It'll be very hard unless people can lip read.
Sorry, I thought I was muting myself.
So I'll try and cover a few things today, from the basic to the complex, and hopefully even address some areas that Prince2, that's very UK centric for our global audience, but other methodologies don't even consider, don't even know about. And so the things I'll try and cover are: what is project management? Why is it important? What are the key elements of it? People are a huge part, so how to identify and engage with the right people. What mindset do we need? A lot of project management's about mindset. So in that department, kind of what do we need? What should we look at? And I think at the end, there's an opportunity to smash assumptions, and this sounds very cryptic, but we'll come on to that. So I'll be as effective as possible. and ensure we have lots of time for discussion at the end. How we discuss things, I don't know, but Alicia is certainly an expert in that regards. So with all projects, let's start with commitment. What I would like to achieve, what I'd love to do, is connect everyone, even from the experienced through to the inexperienced, closer to project management. I'd love you to take away from this new approaches to leadership, new approaches to managing complexity, new approaches to engaging with people, new approaches to mindset and thinking about project management, new methodologies, and an element of confidence. Hopefully all of that will kind of underpin an increase in confidence, because stepping into the project management space to lead something requires an element of confidence that can take time to build up. So we'll come at the end and we'll see whether I've managed to achieve what I set out to. So first question, who on this call can do project management? Who can manage budgets, control suppliers, identify, evaluate risks, manage senior stakeholders, run governance meetings, create packs, report on progress, all of those things? So I think something's popped up in front of you. Just let me know. Poll number 1. Who can do it? Who's confident? Cool. I love the answers. So have we got any results to that, Alicia, I could see?
We're getting there. Everyone's just started answering now. There's a little bit of a delay, but
cool.
We have, okay, so most people, clearly we're at around 75% of people saying, maybe I can already do a lot of these things, but I'm not sure if it's project management. We've got about 15% of people saying that they can do it. And we've got around about 10 to 15% saying that they might as well be Alicia Silverstone in 1995 because they are.
Cool. So let's ask the same question in a different way. Who here has organised a wedding, organised a trip abroad, or building work? Anything like that? Who's done that? Let's move down to the
96%. We're at 96% have all.
96%, right? So 96% of you can do something more than project manage. 96% of you can deliver an outcome. And when you look at the list I went through, manage budgets, control suppliers, identify and evaluating risks, managing stakeholders, running governance meetings, creating packs and reporting on progress, you can do all of that and deliver nothing. So all of you, as far as I'm concerned, can project manage. So why is project management important? So I'll be dramatic. The sculpture is already complete in the marble before I start my work. I just chisel away the superfluous material. Michelangelo said that, and I think it's a beautiful statement. And I see projects in the same way. At the end of the day, they're a collection of tasks, but with the right person in charge, they can be conducted into something meaningful, something that delivers real change. And that's what projects should be about. They shouldn't be about delivering something. They should be something tick box exercise, something, you know, that people don't emotionally attach to. They should be about delivering real change. So I've been challenged before. A project and managing a project isn't like a sculpture. It isn't like conducting an orchestra. It's work. But a sculpture sculpts for a living and a conductor conducts for a living. So what's the difference? Some say a project doesn't have the same emotional connection. But perhaps that's because we're missing a purpose. And perhaps what we're really missing when we're looking at a project is the why. And to explain this better, I'm going to steal Simon Sinek's Golden Circles. Now, I don't know if anyone's seen this. I asked Alicia just to send it out to people in advance. So what is it? So Simon Sinek believes in something called the Golden Circles. And I'm just going to share my screen, okay, just to just kind of highlight this a bit better. Where are we? Cool. So, Alicia, can you see it? Just want to make sure if you can see it. I'm assuming everyone can see it.
Yep, we're all good.
Cool. So Simon Sinek talks about 3 golden circles. He talks about the what, he talks about the how, he talks about the why. And He believes that all of us know what we do, whether it be a company or whether it be an employee. He believes that some people know how they do it. So how do they do what they do? But very few people know why. And he uses this in a very macro, a very sales and marketing theory, but we can plagiarize it for project management. So in the UK, we have a fantastic program. My wife and I love it, called Don't Tell the Bride. Now, I didn't realize this was a global webinar. I think it's fantastic. So I'm just going to have to explain a little bit. Don't Tell the Bride is a TV program where the groom organizes the wedding from no input from the bride. He disappears. He's got 3 weeks to organize a wedding. And the bride turns up on a wedding day in a dress he's chosen, at a venue he's chosen, in transport he's chosen. And generally the theme of the program goes a little something like this. Oh, sorry.
That's my bad. I was sharing the poll results and then cleared it. But
no worries.
it's at about 65% of them have heard of this show.
Cool. So it goes a little something like this. These grooms always start off with the what. What is a wedding? Well, it's a legal process that unites two people, and then it's followed by a huge party. And then they move on to the how, because they've got 3 weeks to plan this. We need someone to unite us, so someone who can legally marry us, and then we need a venue for a party with a lot of food and a lot of drink. And then they get to the why. Why do we need that? Well, because that's what you need to have a legal process followed by a party. And at the end of this, it is genuinely a complete disaster. Anyone that's organized a wedding will probably be looking at that going, oh my goodness. But that is what happens when you start off with the what and move to the why. And in everything, it's really good to think inside out, from the why to the what. And let me give you this same dynamic, but in a different direction. This is how the bride would have planned the wedding. She would have marked a uniquely special occasion in their lives with friends and family available to celebrate. If you take that back to how the groom does it, he gets to invitations at the end and generally forgets that he has to invite people and starts panicking. Right? People obviously are one of the most important part of a wedding. So how do we do this? Well, we need a special place. We need a special place everyone can get to. And we need a date when everyone is available. And that is how we can deliver the wedding that we really, really want. It's around those core values. So what do we need? Well, we need a venue that means something to us, a venue that can also feed us and give us drink and can host the number of people we want to host. And it needs to be near. We care about these people. It needs to be near somewhere where they can stay. And all of a sudden, just by moving from the why outwards rather than the what inwards, we've got a completely dynamic on what we're trying to do when we deliver a wedding. And after all, a wedding is just a very big, very expensive, very complicated project when you look at the bare bones. So this is the why. The why is hugely important. Okay, so what Simon Sinek moves on to, having explained the why and how it can change your thought process, is linking it to how the brain works. And this is hugely important because in project management, part of your job is to take people with you. Right? If you can have a project team that's self-starting, that's efficient, that trust you, you really succeeded, even though you might feel you have less to do. But to the organization, they'll look at you and say, that's a model we want to repeat. So let's understand how the brain works. So there's a logical part to the brain. I don't know what it's called, but it's aligned to the how and the what. It understands language. You can talk to it and it can help you work out tasks. So in the example of the groom, it would go, right, let's whiteboard. I need drinks. I need a venue. I need this. I need this. I need this. It's very logical. Okay. But the decision-making part of the brain has no capacity for language. It's right in the middle, has no capacity for language. And it's feeling, it's emotion, okay? And it generates the really strong responses in us, such as trust and such as loyalty. So maybe when we start to look at the world in a why, how, what way, we can start to understand some of the things we see in our everyday life. So for those based in America, and I know there's a few of you, why does Coke smash Pepsi in sales. Why do we think that Coke is better than Pepsi? It's an age-old debate, right? And some of you will be screaming at your computers, Pepsi's better, Pepsi's better. But what are the facts? Coke smashes Pepsi in sales, right? But Pepsi wins nearly every single blind taste test. Why is that? Perhaps it's because Pepsi tells people that it's a refreshing drink, whereas Coca-Cola makes them feel it. Okay? So the why, if you bring the why into everything you do, you will start to take people with you. You will start to generate a feeling in people, right? And that to me is a real core of project management. It's leadership. Okay. So let's build something around that, and let's talk McDonald's. Okay. McDonald's tell me in their adverts, and trust me, this is a project management webinar. It's not an advertising or a sales and marketing one. McDonald's tell me in their adverts they're a great way to start the day. They don't tell me they're the best food and it's delicious. They tell me it's a great way to start the day. But how? How are they a great way to start the day? So for this example, I'm going to pretend they do boiled eggs. It's not an egg McMuffin, it's a boiled egg. Okay. So let's start with the why. Boom. Start the day in a great mood. Let's move on to the how. We prepare a delicious egg breakfast with gooey egg, cold juice and warm toast. That's how I start my day well. You know what? You're right. That is how I start my day well. But how do we do this, right? What's the what? Well, this is when we move into project management. Let's map the tasks, okay? We need to do everything when we boil an egg, from fill a pan with water, boil it, get the egg, put it in, boil it, get an egg cup, right? So you've got all your tasks, your underlying tasks there that we need to understand and map out. We need the toast, right? And again, you've got all of these tasks that you can start to map out. Butter the toast, starting from the bottom, fetch the bread, toast the bread, fetch the butter, bring those two together, and you've got buttered toast. You've got a juice work stream as well, if you like. Everything, fetch the juice, fetch the glass, up to pouring it. And obviously you need plates and cutlery to bring it all together. So what we've done here is we've taken a why, we've taken McDonald's brand, you know, we've turned it into a how, what they do well, and then we've broken that down into a project. All right. So that's really cool. But what do we do with this information? What do we do with it? Well, we build a plan, right? And we start to organize these things. So we've identified our first work stream. It's a gooey egg, and we need to stick to the why. It's a gooey egg. It's not an egg. It's not an egg in an egg cup. It's not an egg in an egg cup on a table. It is a gooey egg, because that is how you start a good day. So we can start to put the tasks out here. And as you can see, we're starting to put the blue, it's just the task that we've discussed. And the green is the things that have to happen. You fill a pan, you then boil it. You put the egg in it, you then boil the egg in the water. At the very end, you place it in an egg cup. Okay. We've got a second work stream that needs to be aligned to that, around making the warm toast. Again, it's warm toast. It's not toast on a plate, it is warm toast. That's what the customer wants. So we align another work stream to it. We've got a third work stream. Sorry, spelling, it's not Coles juice, it's cold juice. All right, and we can map this one out. Again, we just plonk our work streams along the line here, fetch glass, fetch juice, and then we align it right at the end there on minute 9, pour juice into glass. Okay. We've then got an integration. So we need to bring all of this together. So with integration, effectively, we take the egg cup, we take the butter, we take the juice, and we put it all together on the table. Okay, and that's kind of how we integrate it. And then we test it. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. By testing it, we're going to eat it, and we're going to say, brilliant. The egg was gooey, the toast was warm, the juice was cold. I'm in a good mood. What a great start to the day. Right? And that's your project. That's your McDonald's breakfast mapped out there in front of you. So the next stage from a project management point of view is resource planning. Okay? Resource planning is brilliant because it helps you identify risks. Right? And straight away, right, we can see a risk here. Right? We've got too many tasks overlaid. And I think, Alicia, you've got a question to ask people? You got a poll? If we could send that out quickly. What are we going to do about it?
Sorry.
What are we going to do about the fact that we've overlaid the activities? It's all right. It's not a problem if we can't do it, Alicia.
There we go.
Here we go. So we're going to have to scroll down to number 4. What do you do when you have too many tasks going on at the same time? I love the answers. Answer 4 is a good one. I'll give you a minute. Don't need to display the results. Just tell me which one wins, Alicia, when we've got some answers in.
All right. It's looking pretty clear so far that we're moving things around. A few of us want to curl up in a ball and cry. And
of course we do.
But
no one wants me to tell them.
No, we do have a few people. Yep. Hope you're going to tell us. Hope you're going to tell us.
I'm glad we don't have a stop talking, Neil.
Because every day I'm shuffling.
Cool.
I'm sorry, I won't sing, guys. That's awful.
So let's go with, let's assume that number one.
Shuffling. We're at 80% shuffling.
Right, every day I'm shuffling. Cool, so let's have a look. Right. So, yes, we can start to look to move things around. Let's have a look. The first one, place egg in an egg cup. Can we move that? You know what? You've got some long lead time items. You need to bring it to the boil egg. When you look at that piece of the structure, we can't really move that. It's time bound. It's the what we would call the critical path of the plan. It is the activities that are causing the timeline to be out at 9 minutes. So we can't move that one forward. So let's have a look at the next one, butter the toast. Well, in order to butter the toast, we'd have to toast the bread, we'd have to fetch the butter, we may have to fetch the bread as well. So perhaps this isn't the most efficient task to move around. So let's just put that on the back burner and look at the next one. Right, I think I got an idea here. Eggs are in the fridge, juice is in the fridge. So in order to get synergies, we could probably fetch the egg and fetch the juice at the same time. Cool, I think that would give us a synergy. We can then pour the juice into the glass a minute earlier, and we should have the desired effect we want. Okay, all of a sudden we've got a more efficient process, a more efficient project. And that's what Prince 2, that's what a project management methodology would teach you to do. But why are we doing this? We are doing this because we want to start the day well. We are doing this because we want a gooey egg, because we want warm toast, and because we want cold juice. You get the juice out the fridge 6 minutes before you pour it, your juice isn't going to be cold, right? I don't like warm juice. I might not have a great start to the day. I know it's a basic example, but hopefully it gives an idea of the decisions you make when you're connected to the why and the decisions you make if you use a methodology. And I think that's very important because you constantly need to balance the two. Okay. I find it very weird that you guys can't say, yeah, so every time I say, okay.
They can give us a hand wave. They can give us the high fives.
Oh, give us some high fives. Do give
and
us
you can't
some
see this,
high
but
fives.
we've got comments coming in that this is great. So yes, they're on it.
Good, good. Cool. But now for the bad news. Project management isn't that easy, right? In real life, you'd be cooking that egg for someone else. Someone else would be testing it. Someone else would be eating it. You'd be using someone else's pan. You'd be borrowing someone else's butter, right? Many complexities. And these people are called stakeholders. So, you know, some of you will know that. Some of you will wonder what stakeholders are, but that's who stakeholders are. They own the things you need to deliver your project. So to be successful, you need to identify and prioritize the right people to sponsor and support your project, and you need to manage them accordingly. That's absolutely critical. You need the right glass from the guy that owns the glass. You need the most delicious bread from the guy that owns the bread, right? You need if you want to boil lots of eggs, you need the biggest pan from the guy that owns the pans. And this is how you kind of think about it when you start to work out who you want to engage. And a method that I use when I do this is influence versus interest. Okay? So I will look at all the stakeholders and I will say, who's really interested in this project doing well? Who's got a vested interest in it, and who's just generally interested in it? And what influence do they have? And those people I call a top priority. You know, these will be guys whose bonus is dependent on the outcome, or just senior guys who think it's a really cool project and are interested. And I'd give them a top priority status, and I would work really hard to manage them. On the other end, I'd identify people that don't really have much interest and don't really have much influence. I'd ensure they're informed and contacted, but you know, you don't need to prioritize them. Dangerous people are those that have a huge influence but a low stake, so a low interest in your project, because if people float in and out of a project, they can start to change their mind, make decisions and pull levers. So even though they might not be able to help and support you and drive you forward, they could disrupt you. So you need to identify these guys, and through communications, through management, just keep them on your path. So when they walk into a meeting, they know what you're doing, they know what you're trying to achieve. Okay, but they can be extremely dangerous because of their influence. Not through bad intent, just through not being connected to the project, not understanding what it's doing, and only having 5 minutes where they've got to make a judgment, make an opinion. Okay, so that's the handle with care in the top left. Right. Bottom right, high interest, low influence. These guys can be annoying. Okay, so help them understand where they can add value, help them participate in your program, help them because they may turn into a high influence person over time, but they can also be quite annoying. So again, you need a plan to manage each one of those stakeholders carefully. Projects are all about people. Okay. On the other side of real life, someone would be cooking for you, someone would be fetching everything, someone would be plating it up, and those guys are your project team. Okay, so your biggest job as a project manager is creating the space for your team to be successful. Okay, once you've understood the why, once you've worked with a team to break it down into how and a what, it's about creating the space for them to go and deliver it. You've agreed it together, you've committed it together, create the space for them to be successful. Many project managers think their job is to chase, to interfere, to micromanage, to stay on top of people. That's counterproductive. That's not project management, that's chasing, interfering, and micromanaging. Okay? Don't get me wrong, you need to understand and you need to simplify things to when you understand the logical flow of events. So let me give you an example. If someone tells you the egg's almost boiled, but you know they don't have a plan, then you need to ask some questions, right? But your job in that instance is to help them find a pan. Never step into that space. If you go and find the pan, people don't learn. Soon you'll find yourself boiling the egg, putting it in an egg cup, toasting the bread. You'll have no time for project management. You've been sucked in. So your job as a project manager is to hold people to account and support them. Make sure you have an environment where they can be honest and say, look, I forgot this. I know I'm on the critical path. There's going to be a delay. If you can't foster an environment where people can be open and transparent, people will start hiding things from you. Issues will come out at the last minute. So managing people is critical, and the environment you create is critical. But at the same time, support isn't about doing it for them. It's a very slippery slope, and I can promise you people don't learn if you end up doing it for them. Okay. So sometimes you may miss something in the plan. Sometimes you may be let down. It's all about openness and honesty. Okay, that is your job. Be supportive, but be firm. Right? And that, I think, it's my opinion, that is what makes a great project manager. Okay. Sorry, there is some more stuff. So a lot of information here. I'll tell you what would be great is if you would like me to continue, just write on the chat, continue. If you'd like me to take a break and let's have a discussion, let's ask some questions, I'm more than happy to do that. I just want to judge how you're feeling, and I find it very hard not being in the room. So just put in the chat menu what you'd like. Would you like me to continue? There is, there's a little bit more content. Would you like to have kind of some Q&A?
Continue. We're getting lots and lots of continue, please. We're loving it.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Continue.
Cool. Let's take a look at relationships. They're absolutely critical, and there is something called systems thinking. Systems thinking is about how an organization or a company connects with teams within that organization. and how those teams connect with the individuals. It's a brilliant model for trying to work out how companies work, and you can kind of reverse engineer it to understand it from a project perspective. Okay, so you have an organization. In this case, I'm calling them stakeholders, those really important guys that own everything that you need to deliver or are dependent on to deliver. You have a team, and in this case, it's going to be your project team. And you have individuals, right? So again, sorry, so you've got your project, sorry, probably a typo. You've got your project, and then you've got your project team within that project. Okay? So let's look at the relationship. What do you want from the stakeholders? You want direction and authority. Ideally, you want a why, but that may fall on your shoulders just to kind of drive things forward and make sure you've got a focus. But direction and authority is definitely what you need. Okay? In return, the organization, the stakeholders expect you to deliver outcomes, right? And that is a very balanced relationship. And when you go and do your reporting, what you're saying effectively is, I'm struggling to deliver this outcome. I need your direction or authority to help me mitigate that so the outcomes flow through. And it's this circle that stakeholder management and project reporting and project boards are all about. Your relationship with your the relationship between you as a project manager and your project team is very much bring them, be part of a change. And this is why the why is important. Okay? It's not you give me deliverables and you've been told to work in my project. That doesn't work. That's the what. But with the why, you're part of a change, right? And in return, they will commit to their responsibilities. You're not looking for tasks and this and that. You're looking for commitment. Commitment's a very powerful thing. It's an emotion. It's not a thing. Sorry, it's a very powerful emotion. It's not a thing, right? And the good project managers can get commitment and loyalty out of their team. So those relationships are key, but there's some other relationships that we also need to map. So what's the relationship between the organization and the individuals? Okay. Well, to me, it's purpose. An organization needs to give individuals purpose. We've just spoken about how powerful that is. We've just spoken about how a purpose, a why, speaks to your emotions. It speaks to what your decision-making part of your brain. It speaks to the element of you that develops trust. It speaks to the element of you that develops loyalty, right? And many companies where employees are frustrated and want to leave, you obviously haven't spoken to that part of their brain. You can say the same of a project on a more micro scale. You, as a project manager, can give people purpose they don't otherwise have at work, right? And a really good objective to have is to say, I would really want people, a good objective to have is for people to say, I really want to work with her on her project because people are enjoying it. And if you can give people that kind of a purpose, you're going to be extremely successful in what you do. Project management is part, no matter what your role, is part of everything you do. The why should be part of everything you do. Why does a team exist? Why does a project exist? It's the same question. It's the same way of thinking. So purpose, very important. But what's more important to me, and I think is critical to any organization, is networks. The power of an individual is huge. And these networks, they don't obey silos, they don't obey hierarchies, they don't obey processes. It could be the CEO having lunch with the janitor. It is just people who feel the same, think the same, sit next to each other, eat lunch together, just happen to get on. But these networks are a hugely powerful element of an organization. All right. How important? So let's make some assumptions. The first assumption is nearly all projects are defined at a senior level. It might be the exec board, it might be lower, and then just given to someone to manage. Okay. Let's make a second assumption. Despite some help from those stakeholders at the start, a PM will be given the project and will need to go and identify and request resources to help them. And those assumptions are built into every single methodology around project management. All methodologies teach you how to guide you around hierarchies, how to get through permissions, how to try and manage to acquire what you need to be successful. Those assumptions are built into methodologies. But what if we change that? What if improvements were identified or challenges solved by ideas formed within the organization by the very employees who face and feel those challenges and those ideas every day, that would feel the consequences and the benefits of delivering them, right? Not decisions and projects formed by those who were simply informed and went to a meeting and said, I think this is a good idea. They're not connected to it, okay? Well, I can tell you, every day around the world, ideas are formed in the organization by employees. They can be really simple. An extra car parking space could have a massive impact on the productivity or the morale of the work of the workforce. There are so many things, so many small ideas that can have big impacts. So what if these incubated ideas could be amplified? What if we connected the right people to stimulate conversation? What if we matched those who have a why to those that have a what or a how? What if those ideas could be empowered and put into forums where their value would be immediately seen and encouraged before it dies? The reason that so many of these ideas never make the light of day is because people don't think that people will be interested. You know, that IT system swap out is far more important than perhaps a slight change to a flexible working policy. That sales program is far more important than 25 people's need for an additional car parking space. Well, not if you've got really smart management that understand how the employees think, feel, how to get them motivated, how to show them that you care. So it's not easy stopping these ideas dying, making people realize that actually what they thought was small could be very impactful. Okay, so what do you need if you want to do this? What do you need? So you need a person with really strong networks, someone who's really connected to the organization, someone who understands what people are thinking, what they're feeling, what they're experiencing. It's probably more important what they're experiencing. But in this same individual, you need someone with influence. You need someone who could get the right ideas in front of the right people and could make a difference, could actually explain and help people understand why these ideas could heavily impact morale, productivity, loyalty, hugely important one at the moment. And that's a very unique skill set. But today is my lucky day. The people that can make such a huge influence in these organizations are all 63 of you listening to this podcast. And I really hope that what I've just taken you through helps. Thank you very much.
Neil, thank you so much. That was amazing. We actually have 83 on the call now. It grew rapidly while you were starting off there, but that was really, really brilliant. Guys, if you have questions, the Q&A is open. We've got a lot of really enjoyed the presentation. Thank you. Neil, do you have any tools that you use for organization? I know that EAs love their arsenal of tools. Is there anything in particular that you recommend for keeping track of a project?
No, I don't recommend a software tool. So it depends on the project. So a plan, tool number one is a plan, okay? When I say a plan, I mean the breaking down of what you want into work streams and into tasks. And that plan is your most important tool. And I've used many things. For some projects where I keep a hold of things at a high level, I've used PowerPoint. Sometimes I've used Excel. I rarely use Microsoft Project because it's quite cumbersome. But I think simplification is an important point. So I know there's many project management tools out there, but as a project manager, as opposed to listing everything and staying on top of lists that are huge, simplify. 5 work streams, 5 milestones. Okay, maybe have signpost it. Ensure you've got something that tells you the program's on track, the project's on track, so that every week you kind of know where you should be, and then you can have a discussion. But sometimes tools make you overcomplicate it. They make you do lists. You need to insert the lists in the heads of your project team. So I'm kind of a believer in keeping it simple. Also, if you've got all the detail, how do you communicate all of that to your stakeholders? Simplicity is absolutely key. So no, sorry, I don't recommend.
No, that's brilliant. That's great answer. We've got, hi Neil, I'm a Prince 2 practitioner qualified, but have really struggled to move from an EA role into project management. How can EAs make this transition?
So It's a really good question. So Prince 2, I think, is a great stamp in the passport. And feel free to disagree with me, but it teaches you. There's 3 books I would never recommend reading. Number 1 is How to Swim. Number 2 is How to Ride a Bike. And number 3 is How to Manage a Project. And Prince 2, I think, is a great kind of formalization of the principles, of the methodologies. But you really need to get your hands on a project. It's all about applying it, learning it, and developing your skill set. So I think opportunities. So if part of the issue is that you're struggling for opportunities at work, or you don't feel the trust there, what I would try and do is use my network. So are there any mini projects that you can identify working with people that can add real value? When looking at projects, the board focus on sales, focus on revenue, focus on many other things, and then they just go, oh, and we've got some problems with the employees, let's just send them an engagement survey. You're in a unique position to start looking at projects that lie within your employees, how to keep them happy, motivated, things like that. So if you don't feel you're getting opportunities from the board, prove yourself in that respect, identify some initiatives, pull people together, inspire them, tell them that you can help them drive something forward, something simple, something that doesn't require much money to do. That's what I'd recommend if you don't feel you're getting enough opportunities on kind of actually formed projects.
I would really echo that. I think EAs are in a great position to be able to take on, because they know what those things are that are being left on the floor or that are still important, but you're also able to take on passion projects. So when I was first doing EA work, I, and still do, had a really strong passion for workplace well-being, and well-being, employee well-being is something that is overlooked a lot. But if you're really passionate about that, it's something that you can go to your exec and say, look, these are the ideas I have. How do you feel about me taking this on? And just show the initiative. So pick up things that you're passionate about, you know, whether it's that you're creative, that you're in design, that you are focused on employee health and wellness. Pick those kinds of things and take them and make your case. We've got a couple of people asking if you have any books that you'd recommend on project management. And yes, guys, we're getting a lot of people asking if the webinar is going to be available to rewatch and if the slides are available. And the answer to that is yes. So all of the webinars that we do are always available to rewatch and will be uploaded soon. So you can keep an eye on that in the Facebook group, guys. There'll be a link there and on the YouTube page.
Okay. 3 books. The 3 books I would read. So the first thing I'd do is I'd watch Simon Sinek's Golden Circles. It's one of the most inspirational videos I've ever seen, and it's a mindset, it's a way of thinking and communicating that will just change how people work with you, and that's the key to project management, so please watch that. In terms of books, I think there is a little book which I love called How Full Is Your Bucket. It's not about project management, it's about emotion, it's about how the brain works, and again, it's about people. It's literally 20 pages long, but it's one of the most insightful books I've ever read. I think Simon Sinek's Golden Circles book is another great one. There's a guy called Lulu who's written a book called Reinventing Organizations, which is around how hierarchies don't work and the power of networks in organizations. He's developed something called TEAL, which is about people. It's almost like project teams, the theoretical project teams we've been talking about people self-starting, self-organizing, getting motivated, managing themselves, and delivering outcomes far in advance of what the company could ever expect from such a small team. I think that's a really good book. And then there is another one, which I'll try and remember whilst it goes on, written by a...
That's right. If you think of it afterwards, Neil, I can post the links to everyone when I send out the video.
I'll describe it. Names of the books, please. Reinventing Organizations, How Full Is My Bucket, and one written by an Israeli social scientist around how expectation can completely overpower your experience. And that is a fantastic book. If I remember the name, I'll send it through to Alicia.
Okay. We have another question. Hi, Neil. I got an opportunity to work for a mobile app project going on in my organization to extend my support with project manager capacity. It's been a few weeks now, but I'm not very clear with how to go forward. Any advice on this?
Why? Right. So if I was allocated to a project, and I'm just reading this as you're working in the project team as opposed to project managing it. The first thing I'd want to do is understand why we're doing it. So what is it about this mobile app we're trying to do? What I've seen many times in mobile app development is people sit in a room and they all think they know what the answer is, and they all talk and they all develop it, and then they launch it to the customers and it doesn't take off. So perhaps I'm wrong, I've got the wrong impression of your organization, but maybe you can add value by trying to work out within your organization, within your friends, within any network that you have, whether what this mobile app is trying to do is actually going to work. And perhaps you can help form the ideas and how it should go forward. That would be my advice. Think about the why, try and get them to explain to you the why. Use your networks, leverage your networks to work out whether that why is tangible. The how, the what you're doing. Will that work? Will it take off? And I think you could add real value that way.
Do you have any tips to involve people in your project if you work in an organization with a traditional organizational structure?
Oh, that's a good one. So I would assume, Claudia, that there's an underlying issue here. Is it an issue to get people to want to work for you? Is it difficult stakeholders? Is there a kind of a little, or is it just a general question? Just type in, let me know, because they've got different answers. If you can help me a little bit.
General question.
Okay, fine. So I think, and you're probably sick of it by now, but the why, right? Give people purpose. If you've got a program, let's use return to work. So Alicia told me a lot of you are involved in the return to work. Now, in the middle of a pandemic, many people will be saying, why do I want to return to work? Okay. Why do I want to go back to the office? Why do I want to travel on public transport? Why do I want to put myself, my family, and others I don't even know at risk? It's a really good question. Why would people want to then engage with that project when they don't want to return to work themselves? So that's probably one of the hardest situations you'll come across. And the answer is make sure you're clear on a why. So because we're struggling with productivity whilst people are working from home, yeah, that may be true, but it may not be returned to the office. People are wearing face masks, people are wearing visors, people are scared. You might not find you get a productive environment in the office. So if you focus on the why of productivity, you may end up doing, what are the collaborative virtual tools? Can we rent drivable, office spaces you can drive to? Have people got gardens where we can sit and have a meeting? All of a sudden your project changes from you must return to the office through to how do we increase collaboration and productivity when you're offline? And that's the kind of project that people want to be involved in, because you're thinking, you're getting opinions, you're listening, you're trying to solve a problem. You're not trying to do something that doesn't really have a reason. And that to me is how you get people engaged in your project. You'll have difficult stakeholders. You'll have people that are saying that sounds like a waste of time. Sometimes you can't conquer it. All you can do is your best. Okay? Use your networks. I hope that kind of helps answer it from a general perspective.
Back again. Hey guys, thank you so much. Oh, sorry, I thought we had another question there, but
Jeannie, I think we'll give you time to write that again.
We do have one in the Q&A actually. Any qualifications, training programs to give further insight and understanding, or ones that you would recommend in terms of gaining recognition from future employers?
Yeah, no, Print, look, so it's very different. How to manage a program versus what employers look for, I think is very interesting. I appreciate it's being recorded, but Prince 2's good. It's a good stamp in the passport. I'll be honest with you guys. Just to give you a history of my experience, I've managed a global IT and network replatforming at the same time. I worked for a mobile company. We ripped the entire mobile network out. We ripped the entire IT and billing system out at the same time. And it was a really tough, globally coordinated project. We've done 2 global restructures with new processes, new org models across our global organization. I've done some very complicated stuff, and I'll level with you. I've never told anyone this in my life. I failed my Prince 2 exam. Apparently that's impossible. Okay, so Prince 2 is a great stamp in the book. It's a great thing that employers look for. But when you write your CV, if you really want to resonate, don't tell them what you did. Don't just tell them what you did. Tell them how you did, but also tell them why you did it. Okay, all comes back to the why, even when you're writing your CV. No, that's not the book I was looking for. Okay, Agile methodologies are recommended to all projects nowadays. Are there cases in which traditional product may fit better? There always are. But what I hope I've done for you today, sorry, the question was Agile methodologies are recommended to all projects nowadays. Are there cases in which traditional project management may fit better? What I hope I've done for you today is not stuck to a methodology. Right, so the traditional one's kind of waterfall, which is you write everything down, you then deliver it, you then test it, you then change it if you need to. Whereas Agile is kind of, we do little bits of work and we change it all the time. And they're very different. And it's like a religion. You've got someone on each side that's always arguing. Waterfall's very important if you've got suppliers, you've got big contracts, and you're not doing it in-house. Agile works brilliantly if it's all in-house. Okay, so there are some situations and circumstances where one works better than the other. What I hope I've done today is given you a mindset and engagement model that works for both. It doesn't matter whether you're doing traditional or Agile. I hope I've given you some tools that just mean that you're a good leader, right? And both Agile and traditional mean you're a good leader. Prince 2, very traditional, very waterfall, very stakeholder management. Agile, very people focused. You have to be far more understanding of what the situation is, but the skill sets I think are the same.
How important is industry experience? So do you find that project management can kind of cross industries, or you really need to be knowledgeable about what you're managing?
No, good project managers can do anything. As long as you've got the right team. The thing that isn't going to floor a project manager isn't moving from fast-moving consumer goods to telecoms. It is whether you've got a good team that can support you. Because if you have to have the knowledge, then something's missing. The stakeholder's wrong or the project team's wrong. A good project manager can go, I don't really understand this, but I know I'm going to need someone who does this. So let's start at the top. You've just moved into telecoms. Right, I need someone that understands networks. That's your first person. Now let's talk. Mr. Guy that understands networks, what do I need to deliver this? I'll do the plans, I'll do the engagement, I'll manage the stakeholders. I need you as my guy. And a good project manager knows their weaknesses and is prepared to trust someone to deliver elements for them. The more you know about something, the more likely you are to step into the space of your project team, and then you're on a slippery slope.
This has been amazing. This has been brilliant. I think somebody was asking about...
I need 5 minutes at the end. I made some commitments at the start and I want to check on them. So just make sure we got 5 minutes at the end.
No worries at all. I think last question is this the book you were talking about? Defending the story of my relationship, my challenging client.
I'm going to just type into Israelis. Just give me a second, guys. I'm what's it called? Irrational, something predictably irrational, predictably.
For everyone who's asking, I'm seeing a few more questions about will this be made available? Yes, this will be made available. The Facebook group is called EA How To. So if you just go Facebook.com/groups/EA How To, that's where you can find loads of stuff that we don't put on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn and the Facebook group are different and there's different content in them. It's a private group. So we have some stuff that's a bit more personal in there, and looks like Neil may have found the book.
So the book's called Predictably Irrational. And the premise is human beings are completely irrational, but it is completely predictable. And it's quite important. So I'll just give you 2 minutes here because I love this story. One of the experiments he did was he sat outside a bar with a pint of beer and a bottle of vinegar. And as people walked in, he'd saying, do you want this beer? And some of them had vinegar in and some of them didn't. And this is how he did it. First of all, he'd give some people the beer. Second of all, and he'd let them choose. Second of all, he'd give people the beer with vinegar in. Third, he'd say to people, do you want a beer with vinegar in or do you want a beer? And of course, no one wanted a beer with vinegar in it. However, when he did a test at the end, the people that didn't know they had vinegar in their beer liked it so much to the point at which they were asking for vinegar to pour into their beer. And it's these experiments that just help you understand how the human mind works. And it's important for projects, because if you surprise people or you don't take them on a journey, you're going to get a very different reaction to one that let them experience it first. Don't convince them it's right. Let them experience, let them feel it. And then when they realize, when you take them on the journey, they'll be part of it. And that's why I love that book, Predictably Irrational. It's fantastic.
That's brilliant. You've got your 5 minutes at the end. Go for it.
Cool. Thank you very much, guys. So, quick test. What I really wanted to do was do something that would enable you to take away new approaches to leadership. So I think leadership, what is it? So understand the why. I think it's a huge part of leadership. Get others to believe in it. That's the hard bit. But without understand the why yourself is one thing, getting others on the journey, getting them to believe it too is another, and communication is key. Use it to give people a purpose. Many organizations don't give their employees a purpose, so you can give them a purpose on a project, and it's hugely powerful. And I think the last one as a leader is support your team, but do not step into their space. Okay, hold them to account. I think that's very, very important, and at times very hard to do. I wanted to give you a way to approach to navigating complexity. Plan first, then execute. You can't build a plane whilst you're flying it. Okay? Simplify everything into a few milestones and a few work streams. Challenge yourself to do that. You never need the nth degree of detail. Continually challenge yourself. A few work streams and a few milestones, and leave the knowledge in the rest of your team. I would always recommend challenge you to do that. I wanted to help develop potentially new approaches on engaging with people. So we've been through how to identify and engage stakeholders. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time on those that can't help you. I think that's probably the message to take away there. Networks are critical. Leverage them and expand them. Use your projects to make them even bigger, make them go even wider. And listen. Don't be afraid to change direction if other people have good ideas. Right? Make people feel part of the solution, not outside of it. And understand different stakeholders want different things. You can't treat them all the same way. We spoke about mindset. No tick box exercises. An egg, toast, and juice on the table is very different to a great way to start the day. Remember that. That's one of my philosophies of life. And confidence. Oh, sorry, methodologies. There's no right way to manage a project. It's your way. Two people can manage a product in completely different ways and come to the same outcome. Okay. So, you know, don't get set in your ways for methodologies. And confidence. Understanding the why gives you solid ground beneath your feet. It enables you to navigate complexity. Please always think about it. Always understand it. Slipping a plan is not failure. Escalating issues is not failure. What is failure is knowingly delivering something you know isn't going to achieve the outcome. In project management, that is the only failure you have, and it is always avoidable. I hope that's helped.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. And to Rachel, there is no way that it's too late for you to implement this knowledge. It's go for it. Never too late. So thank you so much for your time today, Neil. We have had one request to take a photo of everyone, and I've never done that on Zoom before. So everyone has to be in a group photo. Turn on your cameras and this one's going to be new for me too.
That's a great idea.
Pop your cameras on, guys. Don't be shy. Who was it that asked for that, guys?
I put my best shirt on as well. There you go. We definitely need a photo.
Oh, I can see Joy from Canary Wharf. Oh, you guys are saying you don't have the option. Okay, I'm assuming that this might be something that I've maybe turned off. So sorry, guys. I think we'll have to leave that one for today, because I presume that in the webinar settings, we had to allow everyone to be able to share their video, and I have not done that. So sorry about that, guys. Anyway, thank you. I can see a few familiar names from Canary Wharf. Hi to those guys. And Canary Wharf PA Club. Very nice. Anyone who is still on here, by the way, this time next week, We have another webinar. It is a panelist. We have 4 brilliant freelance virtual assistants, 2 from the UK and 2 from the States, talking to us about how to run a VA business, what you need to know, the challenges that come with being a virtual assistant, and particularly now because all of us overnight became virtual assistants, at least for a period of time. But being a virtual assistant is very different to running your own business and being a freelance virtual assistant. So we have 4 brilliant VAs who are going to chat with you about that. So please do join us. I'll be adding that event to the Facebook group and posting it on LinkedIn as well. And final call out, if you are on LinkedIn and you haven't joined the Facebook group, it's Facebook.com/groups/EA how to. Thanks so much, everyone. We will see you this time next week. And thank you, Neil. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.